All right, good morning, everyone. This is the Neil and Louise Tillotson webinar on our newest program, the Dash Grants program. So I hope, well, we're so pleased that you've joined us this morning. My name is Jean Clark, and I'm the Tillotson Fund Manager. And this morning we'll just be going through the details of the program, which should take about 10 minutes. And then we'd love to answer any questions that may come up for you. So I'm going to just let Sonia introduce herself, and then we'll get started.
Well, hello, good morning, everybody. I hope you're warm and cozy wherever you might be. It's snowing here in Bethlehem. My name is Sonia Salanti. I'm the Director of Tillotson Funds, and I'm here just to answer any questions you might have and just see the faces of folks who are interested in this program. We're super excited about it, and I'm really grateful to Jean for taking the lead and leading this session and helping us to stitch this program together. So welcome, good to see your faces.
Great. And for those of you that just joined us, I just want to let you know that this is the webinar that's focused on the Dash Grants program for the Neil and Louise Tillotson Fund. So welcome. We're going through the next 10 minutes, just giving you an overview of the program, and then we'll move into your questions and the answers. So feel free to dive in if you have a question as I'm speaking. I tend to talk really quickly. So if you ask a question, that will give us pause and slow me down a little bit. So, but anyway, we'll get started. So the Dash Grants program is the newest of our grant making programs. The other Neil and Louise Tillotson programs you may be familiar with are the large grants and local grants program. And we also have our Empower COAS Youth Grants program. So those programs still remain the same. They're still moving forward as they have done for 2022. So the Dash Grants program actually came out of community ideas. So we were hearing back from our nonprofit partners that they would like to see a grant program that had a streamlined application process and maybe just a rolling deadline. So it might be available throughout the year versus having specific deadlines. So this program is the answer to those requests that we were hearing from community. It is a pilot, so it's kind of an experiment. We're trying to see how this will play out. So we would really appreciate your feedback. If you're applying, if you're thinking about applying, if it makes sense, if it doesn't make sense for you, that will only help us be better. So we feel like this is a true partnership with all the folks out there that are doing the good work in community. So I'm going to start with, there's a website, the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation has a website, and it's a wonderful resource for you. So everything I say today is also available on the website. So if you miss any information or you have any questions, you can always go back to the website and review there. You can also just reach out to Sonia or myself at any point in time, because any questions we get from you just helps us, again, to clarify and make sure we're communicating clearly. So the Dash Grants program, there is a link in the chat to that website. I should say that as well. And we are recording this session so we can share it out on the website. So the Dash Grants program is focused on the geography of the Tillotson Fund, which includes Coas County and surrounding communities in Maine and Vermont. So when we say surrounding communities in Vermont, we mean Canaan, Guildhall, and there's one more, Lunenburg. So in Maine, that would include Bethel, Maine, Gilead, and there's, I think, a few other very small towns in Maine. So I just want to be clear about that. An organization can be from outside the region, but needs to be working and working with the residents of Coas County. So we do have organizations that work statewide, but have specific programs in Coas County or those surrounding communities. So though that's our geography. Eligibility, so we'll be hearing back from, we hope to hear back from organizations that have a 501c3 status, municipalities, schools, religious organizations are all eligible. The important thing with the Dash Grants program is we are also hoping to hear from folks that might have good ideas in community. They're also eligible to apply if they have a fiscal sponsor. So that's a relationship where usually maybe it's like a historical committee. They don't have 501c3 status, but they can ask their town perhaps to become their fiscal sponsor. That means they have a written agreement between the two organizations, and the fiscal sponsor takes financial oversight on behalf of the committee or group of people that want to take on a particular project. So I think that covers eligibility. I do have kind of a 2-page overview on fiscal sponsorship that I will share with everyone on this call after we're done. And certainly, again, reach out to Sonia or myself if you have a question. I think that covers most of the things on eligibility. Sonia, do you have any other, did I miss anything or? Okay.
I think that's good.
Okay, all right, great. So some of the examples of the types of awards that we're looking at are, if you need marketing materials for a fundraising event, or you're in a school and you want to do a field trip, or you want to hire a consultant to do some strategic planning. The amount is, the minimum would be $250 up to $2,000. So that's the basic range of the awards. And we're expecting that any project or activity would be up to 1 year in length. So this is sort of a one-time award that goes out, and then we don't expect a report from you. So again, we'd love to hear from you if things went well, or you have photographs you want to share, or anything in particular that would be helpful to Tillotson staff. But there's no expectation of a written report being submitted. So I think that covers the parameters on what we're hoping to see from our partner organizations. Some of the things that we don't cover with this particular grant program is capital campaigns, operating support, out of region grants, as I mentioned before. We don't support religious programs specifically, but we do support organizations, churches that are doing work in community. For instance, if a church has a backpack program, or they run a food pantry that's open to all, that would be an example of where we do support a church in their work in community. So there are things we cover and things that we actually can't cover. So there is a difference there, just to be aware of that. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, great.
And I just want to add a couple of things, if that's okay. I think one of the core things about this program that's unique and interesting is that we heard from community that they were looking for small amounts of funding for a simple project, or needing to buy some chairs for a waiting room, for example, or wanting to build raised beds in a community garden. And so the point of the program is to provide rapid funds that are in small dollars. And so as you're thinking about your grant strategies in the coming year, keep in mind we have the local grants program, but if there is a project that is under $2,000, like maybe think about going this route instead of applying to the local grant, which is anywhere from $250 to $20,000. So we're really, like, on our end, we really want to learn, and we're curious to see what kind of uptake we have for this new program. And how it might allow for more funding to be available for those like dollar amounts that go up to $20,000. How is it?
Great, thanks, Sonia. So deadlines, that's something that we've really tried to be more flexible about. So there's no specific deadline to apply. Our portal opens January 4th, so you won't be able to apply before that date, but it remains open then until December 15th, so until the end of the year. We've earmarked $60,000 for the program, and we're trying to space it out over the course of the year. So we're hoping we'll spend approximately $15,000 in the first quarter and the second, third, and fourth quarter. So there's no rush to apply when the portal opens January 4th. We want it to make sense for you. So when you've got your project ready to go, then we would hope you would think of the Tillotson Fund for application. The other piece of this is I talked about streamlining the application process. So when you apply and everything's all set in our online system, you would hear back in hopefully 2 to 3 weeks. Again, I'm just going to say it's a pilot program, so we're hoping that's what will happen, and we'll see how that works out. But right now, we're trying to keep it to a 2 to 3 week response time. So I think then next I should talk about our online process with the charitable foundation. It's very similar to any application you've made to the foundation. So there's a profile for your organization that you'll need to set up or renew on a yearly basis. So that includes basic information about your organization, your mission, your board of directors, how many employees you have. You'll need to upload some financial documents. And once that profile is set, and you can, of course, work on that at any point in time, then once the portal opens, you'll see the application for the Dash Grants program. And you can just click on that button and it will open up the application. So there's only one question that we ask, which is basically a description of your project, its intended outcomes, any partnerships you might have. You don't have to have any partnerships. It's just, if you do, we'd love to hear what they are. And that's one question. I think you're allowed 400 words. So that's our word count. And then there's also an opportunity to upload your project budget. So again, keeping that project budget very simple. I think it's like maybe a 5-line budget, and keeping the expenses, just very general in terms of like, if you have office supplies, that can be 1-line item. If you're paying a consultant, that would be another line item. So trying to make it as easy on our partners and community as possible. So that's the application. Then you just hit the submit button. It would come to us. And again, you'd be hearing back from us in 2 to 3 weeks. So I think that covers everything in terms of the application process. And now we'd be happy to answer your questions, or if I've missed anything. We'd love to hear now from you in terms of even more about Dash Grants and your response to it. If it's something you're thinking about, maybe what your project might be, and then we can sort of walk through how that sounds.
And I just want to add quickly, you don't have to write 400 words. you can write less. We actually appreciate that. So don't worry about being exhaustive in your response to that one application question.
Sure, Irene, do you want to go?
Whoever. Okay. I'm interested in this for my agencies, because sometimes, it's in the North Country, my agencies in the North Country specifically, sorry. This would be great for them if something comes up, if something breaks down, but it's a huge line item to them, but in the amount of this grant, it can be easily solved. So I'm just going to make sure that all our agencies are aware of this for any problems they have going forward. So we're really grateful for this. Thank you.
I guess my question is, in the past, we've been very fortunate to get these, little, in the grand scheme of things, little sums of money to provide scholarships for Coos County social workers to attend our conference. And that's my thinking for this, and very excited that you're offering it. My question is, if for some reason the conference needs to be postponed again, can we hold on to it until it actually happens, or what would that process look like? Because I don't want to hold on to money that we're not using immediately, but
yes, that's a great question. Thank you, Lynn. So typically, and this goes across all our programming, if there is some delays, and especially over the past year and a half, we've experienced delays in all of our work. So we would just ask that you speak with project staff about, the status of your conference in this case, and if things are still going to move forward and it's just projected out another 6 months to a year, we would just ask that you write a short statement about why, and then we would extend the grant timeframe. So,
thank
and
you.
again, I think we're seeing that more and more across the board. So
I really hope we don't have to postpone it again. I really, really hope.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Jean. I had a question. I'm at North Country Hospital in Newport, Vermont, which is definitely on the periphery of your geographical region. I know in the past you've supported projects in Northern Essex County and in Orleans County. So I just wanted to clarify that, as we do have patients from that neck of the woods, as well as a partnership with the hospital in Colebrook, where our surgeons visit Colebrook to work. So I just didn't know if I am too much on the periphery to participate.
Great. That's a question we get often from organizations that are, again, on the periphery. And I think it's just a matter of really coming up with the data that demonstrates that you are reaching the folks that are in the regions I mentioned. So in your case, it's the towns of Kane and Lunenburg, Guildhall. And so typically I say, it's a percentage of then the total request that the Tillotson Fund would be interested in. So, and so it's a balance, right? Because we want to make sure your project can be completed. In the case of the DASH grants, I think, it's a little different because the dollars are not that significant. So I think I'm sort of answering for the large and local grants program, and the DASH grants would be sort of a different approach. But I think we could, again, it's something that I think the Tillotson Fund would be interested in hearing more about.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I see, Andrea, you had a question about the dollar limit or how much money is available in total. And I think I tried to cover that, we've earmarked the 60,000. Yeah. And again, I just want to reiterate that this is all a pilot. So if we see lots of requests coming in for the first quarter and we've reached our $15,000 idea, I think we can then go back to the drawing board. And Sonia, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but that was how I've been thinking.
You
about
are
it.
not. No, that's
Okay.
a pilot, and definitely we're open to thinking through this. Yeah, and I just want to, in the spirit of a pilot, figure out how the best way to get, feedback from those of you that do apply for the grant and are able to use some of those funds. I think, as they come in, we'll be figuring out, like, do we want to maybe call a few of you randomly or get some understanding of just how the process was for you. So would really appreciate your openness if you get a little tickle from either me or Jean to have a conversation with us. We'd really, really appreciate your feedback, because we do want to try to make these types of new initiatives permanent fixtures of the fund. And but we want to hear from community that they work. So really appreciate your partnership. We really consider you all to be crucial informants, I guess, on how this project is going.
I guess one other thing I do want to mention is that if you apply to the Dash Grants program, it does not preclude you from applying to the large local or Empower COAS youth program. Typically, we've said in Tillotson that we only want to see you applying to one grant program, but the Dash Grants program stands alone. So I hope that makes sense how I said that.
Yeah, the caveat to that is, like, if you were applying for local grants, you wouldn't apply for a Dash Grants to augment your local grants. So it would be for like a separate standalone project, just to be clear about that.
Great. Well, I think we've covered all the questions that we have at the moment. Both Sonia and I are available. We often set up, phone or Zoom conversations with individuals so we can have one-on-one conversations. So please know we're available. And again, the link to the website is in the chat. So that's another great resource that you can rely on. And following this webinar, I will send you an email that will include the question, the word count, a little cheat sheet on the fiscal sponsor in case that was of interest. So, and we look forward to reviewing your applications when they come in the door.